Welcome to Meet Your Neighbor, the podcast that highlights the people and stories that make Westbrook Village a truly exceptional community. I'm your host, Steve Marilla, local realtor, neighbor, and proud member of this vibrant community. Each episode, we sit down with residents to learn about their careers, life experiences, and what brought them to Westbrook Village. It's a chance to connect, share, and celebrate the unique journeys that shape our neighborhood. Thanks for tuning in. And now, let's meet your neighbor. Today's guest is a dear friend and my favorite person to compete against in ping pong. Ed Schriber at 83 is still racking up wins on the pickleball courts, the pool table, the ping pong table, and in life. From college football to a decorated career in the U.S. Marines as a helicopter pilot and a full bird colonel, Ed's story is packed with adventure, discipline, and heart. We'll talk about his military career, his love of competition, and how he's crushing it physically and mentally well into his 80s. Now let's meet your neighbor. Hello, Ed.
Hello, Steve.
How are you?
I'm good.
We're starting out a little formal.
Yep.
Ed's here today. The only thing I want to say about Ed before you start your story is at 83 years old, I am 56. I can beat him occasionally in ping pong, but he dominates me in ping pong. And looking at his resume, when we get to it about his athleticism, now I know why. You were an athlete. Especially in basketball, we're going to talk about that. But Tell me where you're from, and let's start the story of Ed.
Yeah, I was born in New Jersey, Jersey City, New Jersey. Moved down to what's called the Jersey Shore. You may have seen that on TV or something. It wasn't like that when I was there. And at least I didn't associate with any of those folks. But and then, in high school, I gravitated towards sports. I played 4 sports. Played football, basketball, baseball, and track. I was being a little short guy and short legs. I ran the 110-1, had some 10-1s, 10-2s. So I had the gift of some speed, which helped because I wasn't very big.
Well, how tall were you in high school?
5'8",
5'8",
150 pounds.
Were you a shooting guard then?
I was.
Is that why?
And I took a lot of shots.
Yeah. The 1,000.
Yeah, I scored 1,000 points. I was the first person in my high school to score 1,000 points.
Wow.
I'm sure since then it's been done a number of times.
Sure.
But, I was all this and all that at the time. It was a big fish in a small pond, I guess.
Right.
And so then I played football, and I was fairly decent in that. I went off to college after that and played football.
What position of football did you play?
Running back.
Running back?
Defensive back, and I returned punts and kickoffs.
Okay.
In high school.
All right.
Went off to college. I had a small scholarship to a small NAIA school, William Jewell College in Liberty, Missouri. Again, we had a very good team and a lot of good players. And
Did you play basketball in college or just football?
I played 1 year.
1 year?
Yeah. I didn't
Okay.
After that, just concentrated on football. I played 3 years of football there. And then, of course, between my junior and senior year, I signed up for a commission in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
Aviation commission. And after, what they offered then was a platoon leader's class option to go to boot camp between your junior and senior year for 10 weeks.
Okay.
Which is what I did. So I returned for 1 semester to graduate, and then went back to Quantico to go through officer, they call it basic school.
Sure.
And while I was there, I played football for the Quantico Marines, which at that time they had a varsity program. We played Villanova, Toledo, Marshall, and Memphis State, and we beat them. So again, we had a real good team. So that was that. And then after 6 months there, I went to flight school, Pensacola.
So what was flight? We're kind of brushing over this, but what was flight school? What was basic training back like that? Back then,
boot camp itself was officer boot at Quantico.
Okay.
But it's essentially the same boot camp you'd go through at Paris Island or something.
Sure.
Basically all physical.
All physical.
A lot of mental stuff.
Mental break you down.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you know what the game is.
Sure.
And so you try to play off of it pretty well.
Sure.
And I was in really good shape, again, physically, which helped because it's a lot of physical.
Yeah.
So that helps because they're trying to break you down. In any event, that was that, and then went down to flight school.
Yeah, what was the flight school like? I mean, we've all seen Top Gun and what that's like, but I mean, when you first take control of a plane, it's got to be pretty
Yeah, I had never even been in the back of a plane. I had never ridden in a plane.
Really?
Yeah, really. That's true.
Wow.
And I told the recruiter that when we signed me up. I said, I've never even been. Well, take this test. They give you a test. Look at some pictures.
Sure.
Say, right hand turn or left hand turn.
Right.
I think it was. Anyway, it wasn't that big a deal, but in any event, the flight training is demanding, especially if you've never, been in airplanes or been around airplanes when you're younger. So. You get through each stage as it comes, and pretty soon you're wearing wings.
I had went to I had wanted to be a helicopter pilot in the Army.
Okay.
But my color vision was off.
Right.
So I ended up heavy equipment operator, which
Right.
is probably about as much as I can handle.
Yeah, I stop a lot of people with the aviation.
Yeah.
Or they did back then.
Yeah.
They still do.
So what was your first?
Well, I got
plane.
assigned CH-46 helicopters, which is basically the Army Chinook, a smaller version.
Okay.
The tandem rotor.
Yep.
And I went to New River, North Carolina, my first duty station. Went on a 4-month Caribbean cruise, which was very enjoyable.
Was it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
It was. On the Guadalcanal was the carrier. And then when I got back from that, I was assigned to go to Vietnam.
Okay.
Which would have been that was March '68.
March '68.
Yeah,
Okay.
I arrived there March '68. Tet was just at the end of a thing called Tet, which is a big battle that they were having there prior to my getting there. And I was there in that squadron. It was HMM 364.
Yeah.
The HMM stands for Medium Marine Helicopter.
Okay.
And flew 110 missions with them.
Wow.
And all kinds of missions. And then I was transferred to headquarters, which is 1st Marine Headquarters down in Da Nang, which is I was my ground duty at the time was I was a wing athletic officer.
Really?
And, yeah, because they had different recreational things for the troops to do when they were not in the field.
Sure.
Especially in aviation, because they were more in the garrison all the time. The guys working on airplanes and stuff.
Yep.
And so I ran the R&R program. I ran the entertainment tours, Bob Hope included.
Oh, really?
Lined all that stuff up. And,
Wow.
Yeah, I had a staff to do all the work.
And what was your rank at this point?
I was captain.
Captain?
Yeah.
So back to those 110 missions,
Mhm.
I mean, is it 50% of the time are you getting shot at? I mean, are you getting, you
We
guys
got
are a big
shot at
target.
quite a bit of the time.
Yeah.
I've told the story before. They were really bad aims, very bad
Really?
shots. Oh, yeah, because we should have been hit a lot more than we were.
You would think. I mean,
But-
whenever I see, I'm
Yeah.
ignorant, but I see the movies and I'm like,
Yeah.
how can you not hit that helicopter right there?
Yeah, well, they did hit us, but that's the other thing. Unless they hit a vital organ, they hit the. I got shot down once. It hit
Really?
shot the transmission out. Had to land. It didn't fall. Didn't fall out.
Didn't
of the sky.
fall to the sky.
But the crew chief said if we don't land right away, we're gushing this fluid, transmission fluid. Fortunately, the wingman had just dropped off his troops behind me. We were climbing out of the zone. We got hit.
Oh, okay, so you weren't
And-
right in the middle of it. You were
No,
on
we
the.
had a landing area, clear landing area straight ahead. Was one of those, God acts in strange ways.
Yep. Yeah.
Landed, the wingman picked us up. We were out of there in 5 minutes.
Oh wow.
And,
They just patch up the lines and.
Well, no, we rode with in the other guy's helicopter, in the wingman's helicopter. We left the helicopter. They couldn't
Oh, you
fly.
left it?
Couldn't fly it.
Oh, you couldn't.
No,
Okay,
no.
I thought maybe you repaired
No,
it.
they either repair it or blow it in place the next day.
Oh, okay.
That's what they did.
That's what they
I'm not
do?
Sure what they did on that one.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember. But anyway, that was one of those little tense moments, I guess you call it.
I bet.
But that was, that was.
But
Fair enough.
so in that situation, do you just go to your training and go
Yeah.
logic? You just have to
Yeah.
you have to go 100% logic. You
You-
can't go emotional. What could happen? What
No.
what needs to happen
No.
is this, and this is what I'm
No.
going to do. Is that
You get, I think you get tense, but you don't have time to be scared. You don't have
Sure.
time you have to fly the airplane. And, I had some good friends that were on the ground in the jungle, doing ground stuff. I wouldn't want to do that.
No.
It's terrible.
yeah?
They're under stress the entire 24 hours a day. At least we went back to the hooch, had a cocktail
Sure.
up here.
Yeah.
And get up and do it again the next day. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the pilots were always kind of glamorized in the movies anyway.
Yeah.
As far they get back and but
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
guys in the jungles and just face to face combat it just seems
Yeah. I'll show you sometime. I've got some pictures I'll show you sometime when
of when you're
back in the neighborhood.
back in the neighborhood? Huh.
Yeah.
So 110 missions, and where did we go after
So
the
I went
tour?
to the first wing to be the wing athletic officer and do all that stuff. And I
Yep.
I transferred over to another squadron, which turned out to be a jet squadron, which I had no background in jets at that point. But they needed pilots. It was a two-seater. It was a tandem called a TA-4.
Yeah.
And we were flying the forward air controller airborne missions, marking targets for the bombers coming in to
Oh,
hit the
okay.
target. That was interesting. I flew 40 missions with them, so I flew a total 150.
So because you didn't have flight experience in a jet, were you in the back seat?
I was in the back seat for the first, so I flew 40 missions. First 35, flew the last 5 hops in the front seat.
In the front seat?
Yeah, I graduated to the front seat.
So
Yeah.
that's something. So
That was
graduated
very
to the
unusual,
front
by the way. Yeah.
seat. But is that something? Were you driven in the Marines like you were in sports to always
Yeah, I think so.
be the best? I mean,
think
you
so.
you are such a poor loser when I play you in pickleball. Or ping pong. If I randomly beat you, you are super competitive.
If
So
if you think I'm bad now, you should have saw me back then.
yeah, I bet. I mean, even
Yeah,
back in
I
the
know.
yeah.
I'm not proud of some of the stuff.
Well, no, I
things
think it
I
takes
said.
I think it takes a certain
Yeah.
type of person to put
Yeah.
themselves through that, and you sure aren't going to train halfway and
No.
be out in Vietnam, you know.
No, that's true. Everybody was.
But you're super competitive. I mean, so
Yeah,
you that guy in the
competitive.
front seat, you're like, I'll be up there soon
oh
enough,
yeah,
don't you worry.
oh I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to graduate to the front seat, so to speak.
Sure.
One quick side on this, and then we'll probably go off of it. But I was one of only 3 people that did that, transitioned on the job, we call it,
Okay.
from the helicopter community to the jet community. The guy before me that I replaced, and
Yep.
the guy after me
Oh, really?
that replaced me in the athletic job of athletic officer. And so the Marine Corps did not have a formal transition conversion program at that time.
Okay.
That was 1969. So I think a couple years later, 71 it might have been, or 72, they put in an official transition conversion program. The only service that did it. The Air Force didn't do it, the Army didn't do it, Navy didn't do it.
Huh.
If you were in one community and those services, you stayed in that community.
You stayed in that community.
Yes, transport, fighter, or attack, or helicopter. So the Marine Corps encouraged transition. So I did put in transition after that.
Okay.
And transitioned to the A4 for a while, the A6. I was all over the place.
And well, you just wanted to do everything, huh?
Yeah, I did. Whatever they said, we want to do this. Okay, I'll do that.
Sure.
But I did the highlight of the A6. I had a 3-month tour on the USS Constellation. That was really a highlight. It was for the Marines. You don't get that many opportunities to go aboard ship.
Sure.
There were Marine squadrons aboard, but not that many.
So then are we off to your coaching, back to sports, or was there something in between?
I
there?
did coach Marine football for 5
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, it was great. I had a great bunch of guys. Had some ex-college guys, some guys that played in high school. We won. I know this sounds. We were 55-2-1.
Wow.
And we won. It was 4 years, not 5. 4 years, and we won 3 FMF Pacific championships. They held it in Hawaii every year. What a boondoggle that was.
Oh, wow.
And then one FMF Atlantic championship at Camp Lejeune.
Huh.
It was that was fun.
You had to be pretty intense as a coach.
Well, I concentrated on the X's and O's, but
Sure.
yeah.
But I always thought that was, I mean, especially
Yeah.
when I see a smaller stature guy against a lineman that's
Yep.
300 pounds,
Yep.
and they grab his helmet and
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
Screaming at him to do this or that.
Yeah.
And I was
No.
like, gosh, I'd like to be that guy. Was that you? Were you?
No,
No, you weren't?
No, that wasn't
No?
me, no.
Ah.
I might say a few words to somebody once in a while, if, whatever
Right.
the case might be.
But it wasn't. But
no,
no.
nothing that intense. I didn't have to. We had some really, really good players.
Sure.
Obviously, with that record.
oh yeah.
Coaches. I contend coaches lose games, players win games.
That's a good
coaches
way to
lose
look at
games.
it,
They
yeah.
set up the wrong formations or,
Sure.
or certain things that they do.
So what was your specialty as a coach? I mean, what were you head coach?
I was
were you,
head coach.
You were head coach.
I was head coach for 4 years.
Were you offensive orientated or defensive? Were you calling plays?
I was calling plays, and
Okay.
I was more offensive. Yeah, I guess come to speak of it.
Yeah.
Come to
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're I can see that about you. I mean, you'd rather be on offense than defense any day,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So then we got done with that.
Yeah.
And what rank are we when we're done coaching?
Well, at the time when I started, I was still a captain. Then I was a major for a period of that one segment, the end
Of the coaching
reign. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I had to move out of that because I was moving on to different things, and I became a lieutenant colonel. I was I was on the thing called the Amphibious Warfare Presentation Team, which is
What the heck is
a
that?
long dog and pony show, slide and film, narrated by Huntley Brinkley. 2 podiums.
Okay.
Marine officers. I was
Yep.
I was the aviator on the team,
Yeah.
and we briefed sister services, joint services overseas, some government people on what the Marine Corps can do for you.
Really?
It was a publicity thing for the Marine Corps. And
Sure. Was it for recruitment?
No, it wasn't. It was for to tell other services, in other countries, how the Marine Corps could help them.
So if you need us, need us, we're there.
Yeah, this was we showed the equipment and talked about how the Marine Corps operated.
Did the other branches do that?
Not that I know of, no.
Huh.
And if they did, I don't know about that. But we went to a lot of ROTC schools, like Texas A&M, and a lot of places like that. I'm trying to think of some of the other places we went and briefed the students who were going to become, military people when they graduated from school. We didn't go to. We went to Annapolis. I was trying to think.
Would you say the Marines are the most gung-ho about being in the Marines more than the Army?
I always thought so. I thought.
I wonder if it's part of the marketing because it seems like the Marines they're passionate.
I think a certain type of individual goes in the Marine Corps.
Right.
What we talked about earlier. They try to prove something to themselves or someone else in the bargain. And they've seen a lot of publicity about the Marine Corps over the years. My cousin was a Marine. He was an enlisted Marine, and before me, he's about 10 years older than me. And so I knew about him. He was only in 4 years, not in wartime.
Sure.
And so I was kind of turned on by his.
Yeah, it seems like. I mean, I think a lot of people go into the service for different reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Barnett, if you know him, he went in because it was either that or go to jail. I think he says it in the interview. I interviewed him. Yeah.
Oh, you did?
He says
Okay.
He's been. They were racing cars up and down a street, he had got in front of a judge and said, "It's either $500 or 5 years, or." I don't know if it was a 5-year tour or whatever he had to sign up for the Marines. And both parents said, you'll be going to the Marines. So, and I think you have a little chip on your shoulder with something to prove a lot of times, especially at that when you're younger like that. I don't know what you would have to prove. You proved it all in high school.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I mean, when you're there, you don't even realize what's happening. You're just in the moment. You're not thinking about too much. I was pretty good about it.
It's a pretty big deal to be a full bird colonel, right?
Yeah, it is.
Because
it's
there's not a lot of them.
Star, And no, the Marine Corps only had I forget how many now. They only had 72 generals on active duty at the time. I don't know what they have now. And I remember I used to know the number of colonels, but in all the specialties, artillery, ground, aviation, supply, and I was as I say, I was a squadron commander as a lieutenant colonel, had a squadron of A4s.
Okay.
And then out of that, I was in 1985-87. And then I made colonel in 87, and I got selected for a CO of the Air Group, which is a reserve air group in Pennsylvania, Willow Grove, Naval Air Station Willow Grove, Marine Air Group 49. So, excuse me, I had that for a couple of years, and I retired out of that job.
Okay. Oh, so you retired. What year did? 1990?
Yeah.
I thought you meant 90 years old. I'm like, no, that's, that math doesn't add up.
People have accused me.
Yeah. So what'd you do when you got out?
I flew for American Eagle out of Los Angeles.
Okay.
Regional airline, for part of American Airlines, but the regional carrier.
Okay.
I did that for 10 years. I didn't want to have to get a real job, so
just kept flying.
Just kept flying, yeah. So that was that. And then when I first got to, I lived in Redondo Beach. Myself and another pilot who just hired on with the airline, in 91. Yeah, 91. We moved into a condo complex 20 minutes from the airport, and we're down the beach. And my neighbor right door that faced mine was a gal named Barbara.
Barbara. Yep, I know Barbara.
So I married the girl next door, so to speak.
Well, hold on a second. You can't just go past that without talking about that first bike ride. How was your first? Was that your first date?
Oh, the bike ride?
Yeah.
How'd you hear about that?
I know. I did my research.
No, it wasn't. It might have been the first date, actually. Yeah. What happened was how I met her. I lived in that condo for, I'm going to say, at least 3 weeks to a month. I never saw her. Never saw the door open or close, because we were coming and going at different hours. You know, I had some weird hours with the airline at that time.
Oh, I bet.
In any way, one morning I was actually on vacation. It was a week or two before Christmas. And I was coming down the stairs with some skis. I was going skiing at Mammoth Mountain with some friends. Yeah. And she came out of the condo. And I said, "Well, hi, how you doing? I'm your neighbor." She said, "Oh, hi, yeah. I know you guys moved in, blah, blah." I said, "Yeah." So anyway, we talked, and I just said, "You know, it was Christmas. I said, when I get back, I'll buy you a Christmas drink." She said, "Okay." It's because the doors faced each other. So sure. Anyway, that's how we met.
That's how you met, and then
we kind of hit it off, and then she did want to go for a bike ride.
Right.
And so we borrowed the gal friend of hers across the way. I did borrow the bike. She had her own bike. And we went on this ride, and as we were coming back from the ride, we went through this parking lot, like a small, shopping area. And you have those bumps, those speed bumps.
Yep.
And I hadn't ridden a bike in 40 years. Maybe more. And I was going pretty fast. She was going fast. I was going pretty fast. And I hit the front brake on the bike.
And you hit the bump?
It cast me like a bullet right into the ground.
Oh.
And I got a slight concussion. I was out of work for about a week. It was, that's our first date, I think, yeah. Yeah,
that's awesome. So you ended up moving to Hawaii? Didn't you live in Hawaii for a while?
Yeah, we did. And we lived in Redondo Beach for, a long time while I was with the airline. And then when I retired from that, which was 2001,
okay,
just coincidentally, just before the big event on 9/11.
Yep.
Excuse me. We decided to move to Hawaii. No, 2001. I get my dates mixed up. So because we moved to Hawaii in 2012, so we moved to Ventura is what it was.
Okay.
Ventura from
there
early period. And then we decided to move to Hawaii. We've been going out to Hawaii a couple of times, renting.
Sure.
And we liked it so much. We were footloose and fancy free, so to speak, and just the two of us.
Well, what year did you start playing pickleball? Because you had to be at the beginning of pickleball when it started getting popular, because you've been playing forever.
I was playing a lot of tennis in those days, a lot of tennis. And so she was too. And then when we got out there, she became the Waikiki pickleball ambassador.
Really?
And she was playing pickleball down at the beach. There were a couple of courts down at the beach. They're beautiful, right on the beach. I mean, 50 feet you're in the water. And the courts are there. They're beautiful. And so she was down there with a bunch of folks. And I wasn't playing. I was playing tennis. And then that was, we were 2012. She started playing probably in 2015, 2014, whenever it was.
Sure.
And I started playing around 2017.
Okay.
Going between tennis and pickleball, and socializing with a lot of people down there. It was really a good time.
Yeah, it's amazing how the game has come around. I love it.
Oh, it's fastest growing sport, probably ever.
Yeah, it's great for orthopedic surgeons too.
Yep. So very quickly, I'll tell you how we got here to Westbrook.
Yeah.
We'd been out in Hawaii for, I don't know, maybe a year or two, and we met this couple in the summertime down at the pickleball courts, Laris and Diane Durnell. And we hit it off with them right off the bat. He was a pilot also. He was a pilot for American Airlines.
Yeah.
He was retired then, but he had been. And so we hit it off with them, and we played a lot of pickleball. And by then, I think I'd stopped playing tennis pretty much. And they were telling us about Westbrook Village. They said, if you guys ever came back to the mainland, you should come down and check our place out and see what you think. And I'm thinking Arizona is all gray and brown desert.
Thought the same thing.
With cactus and all that. I don't know about that.
Yep.
But it was close to California, where we have extended family, a lot of family.
Sure.
So we decided when we decided to move off the island in 2019, and we dodged a bullet there too because the pandemic hit right after we left, and
really?
they shut Hawaii down. I mean,
Oh
tight
boy,
as a drum.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But we came back and we stayed in California for about a month or two with my mother-in-law, my mom's mom, and we decided, well, let's go down to Westbrook Village, check it out, see Lars and Diane again.
Yeah.
So we did. We went, wow, this is not what I had envisioned, you know. And so they took us around to the different amenities and stuff like that, you know. And we looked at each other, you know, and said, let's think about this. 2 weeks later, we bought a house.
Really? Were all the pickleball courts up and they had all that?
Oh, yeah.
What was your number one draw to the area? Just overall?
Well, it was just the overall. We just loved the amenities. They were so close at hand.
Sure.
Everything was close. You know, we just, all of it. And we started meeting people right away.
Yeah.
Of course, enjoyed the people. We now have all the friends that we have and really enjoy. And again, still can't take advantage of all the amenities.
No, you couldn't. There's not
it.
enough time in the day.
You know, but it's, I mean, no. And
yeah.
So that's what we like. It's perfect for us. It's a perfect last stop. You know.
Well, that's not. You never know what's around the corner. But
we don't plan on.
Yeah. You have a beautiful setup with your brother-in-law 2 doors down.
Yeah, he moved in. Or they moved in a year after we did.
Yep. So. I love playing ping pong with you guys. I don't play as much as you guys do, but it's gonna be hot pickleball starting today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The weather's getting a little warmer.
Yeah. Did you ever golf?
I never golfed to any degree, no.
Okay.
No, I never did.
Yeah, I don't think you have the patience for golf.
What's interesting about that, again, a side note, when I was back in high school, I only knew one person that golfed.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know anybody that golfed. I'm trying to think, we didn't have a golf team or a tennis team. Nobody played tennis. You know,
no.
Those sports were not popular in New Jersey where I was from.
Okay.
It was the main sports of football, basketball, baseball, track, you know, that sort of thing.
Huh. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I love how Westbrook brought us together. I mean, I have so many friends. You know, I'm the youngster in the neighborhood, and I spend my time trying to keep up with you. So it's a lot of fun. So well, I appreciate you coming in for the interview. I really think people are going to like hearing your story.
I hope so. I mean,
you know, they'll understand why you're so competitive on the court and so.
Well, yeah, I've lost a step or two.
Well, yeah, that's the thing with ping pong. You don't move, but you still beat me. It's those damn hands. So, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
Okay, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Meet Your Neighbor podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And feel free to share this podcast with your friends and fellow neighbors. Until next time, take care and keep connecting.